Hi, my name is Isabella Silber, and today I'm going to be explaining to you why She's All That would be the perfect headliner for the Pygmalion Film Festival. In order to be the perfect headliner for the festival, the ideal movie must capture the true spirit of Shaw's play. The spirit of Shaw's play focuses on class and the pros and cons of being in each social level. The solution to this problem is She's All That. She's All That focuses on high school popularity and the power each clique is given. Whether you're an athlete or a bookworm or a cheerleader or a class president, you are given different amounts of power. Zach, a soccer player and class president, is obviously given the most power because he is in the higher social classes. Since he is dumped by his pretty cheerleader girlfriend, he thinks he has all the power and is able to turn anyone into prom queen. So he takes Lainey, a geeky artist, and transforms her into a prom queen in 6 weeks, as some type of experiment with his friends because he has so much power and is able to control anyone who is willing to listen. The spirit of Shaw's play focuses on class systems and the power each level holds. All power is given to the upper class, while little power is given to the lower class. While the upper class has the power to take advantage of the lower class, if one stays true to themselves and their identity, then they will be able to defy the stereotypes and find a new identity, whether that is a positive or negative, in their life. Higgins says, "It's almost irresistible. She's so deliciously low, so horribly dirty." Shaw 40. This shows the disgust Higgins has towards the lower class. Since he is wealthier and more educated, he thinks it is almost irresistible to take advantage of Liza and use her as a test dummy in his experiment, because he is able to with all the power he holds. Liza said to Higgins, "I sold flowers I did not sell myself." Shaw 78. Liza came into this thinking she would be able to leave and work in a flower shop. However, now Higgins took ownership in Eliza since he has the power, but Eliza, being the active woman she is, stands up for herself and explains that even though she is in the lower class, she can't be bought. Mrs. Higgins said to Higgins, you took the money for the girl, and you have no right to take her as well." Shaw 91. Higgins thinks he has all the power and is able to take possession of Liza, because she can't stand up for herself. But Mrs. Higgins tells him that he is wrong to take both money and her identity. Literary criticism also supports this idea of class. Marsick says, "Pygmalion repeatedly exposes the dual nature of relationships between social reformers and young unmarried women. In a society where sex is a working class's most valuable commodity, a middle class man's philanthropic interest in an Eliza Doolittle is vexed by her sexual availability and vulnerability." Marsick. There are perks and there are also disadvantages for being in each social class. There are large distinctions between each. Upper class men take lower class women because they are more powerful. This leaves a woman vulnerable and frightened for their safety. Marsick also says, "The older women remind the audience that any interaction between a male reformer and a working class woman is fraught with danger a bit of different kinds for both parties. Since all the power is given to the higher class males, women of lower class have to constantly question their safety while around men because they are constantly worried whether the men will take advantage of them since the women lack power in society." She's All That is an adaptation of Pygmalion that captures the spirit of class perfectly. A quote that further supports this is, "When the class president starts touching my face on darkened street corners and calling my eyes beautiful, there's a word for it. There's an entire movement in art in the 20s. It's called surreal. She's All That." Since Zach is extremely popular and Lainey is not, she thinks that he is taking advantage of her when he starts taking an interest in her. As a result, Lainey thinks Zach is just trying to be funny and take advantage of her since she is utterly unpopular and he is at the top of the popularity charts in school. One of Lainey's popular classmates says, "You didn't think you became popular for real, did you? Oh, you did? That's so sweet." She's All That. Even though Lainey defied the stereotypes of high school and became popular, it is still a trap. She thought that she actually became popular for real, but then she realizes that it was all a joke and feels utterly crushed. A review from New York Times focuses on capturing the spirit of She's All That. New York Times wrote, "No matter how much the world changes, the caste systems of a typical American high school seems unavoidable. The jocks, cheerleaders, and pretty people rule, while the nerds, bookworms, and arty types remain the untouchables." She's All That, 1999. The standard stereotypical popularity in high school will always remain the same, being having a distinction between the pretty people and the nerds. New York Times also wrote, "There's always the outside chance that an outcast Cinderella will remove her glasses, put on a chic party dress, and be discovered by Prince Charming." She's all that, 1999. In high school, there's always a chance that someone will defy the stereotypes and go from a nerd to a prom queen in 6 weeks, similar to what happened in She's All That. The record also agrees with the spirit of She's All That. They wrote, "The movie attempts to establish a class rift between the haves and the have-nots." She's All That tries to put a new spin on the social class ideals, allowing for Lainey to go from super unpopular to very unpopular in only 6 weeks. This can prove that anyone in high school can defy any stereotypes if they put their mind to it and are willing to change their identity for it. They also wrote, "High school never changes, with the extreme pressure to conform and its premium on appearance and popularity." Thomas. "There's always going to be large gaps in the social popularity standards in high school, but if you're willing to put yourself out there and change your appearance and identity, you are able to defy the stereotypes and change into who you truly want to become." One may argue that social classes can prove to be beneficial in society. Distinctions in society can make a diverse society and prove to be beneficial. However, this can also lead to complications, as proven by Doolittle. In Doolittle's narrative, he proves the benefits of being in the lower class. He says that he didn't have to pay for things when he was in the lower class, but now, since he is wealthy, he has to pay for them, which he seems as a disadvantage. However, different social classes prove to be a negative factor in society. Since Higgins took advantage of Eliza, he is now left with nothing with her, and she wants to leave him. If Higgins had cared less about social classes, he would have treated Eliza better, and they might have had a stronger relationship in the end, and she wouldn't want to leave. Higgins should have treated her like Pickering did. Overall, both Pygmalion and She's All That capture class systems by making it a powerful upper class and an overruling lower class. They take advantage of the lower class and try to change them, which eventually hurts the identity. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you consider making She's All That the headliner for the Pygmalion Film Festival.